Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Now today we're going to be reviewing the 2023 horror movie The Boogeyman, and this is directed by Rob Savage and stars Sophie Thatcher, Vivian Lara Blair and Chris Messina. This tells the story of two young girls who are stalked by a mysterious being in the middle of the night. Every time a new Stephen King film comes out, I always have a keen interest. There have been so many good adaptations of his work, and I just can't get my head around how good of a creative mind this genius has. And the latest is The Boogeyman, from his short story of the same name from 1973, believe it or not. So what did I think of this one? Let's find out. First off, I do feel like the film gets the tone right, with this being a very dark tale. From the very first scene, a young, petrified child has something really sinister happen to her. And it made me sit up and realise that this film wasn't really going to mess around, and this being, or whatever it was, that was stalking these children in the middle of the night had to be taken seriously. And the direction carries that dark tone really well with the film's tension building. The first two acts of this movie are really quite slow paced. That isn't really a bad thing. I like the build up of the story. But when characters are walking around the house or down hallways or corridors, you always feel like they're being watched and something sinister is lurking around every corner, and you're kind of on the edge of your seat at times, waiting for that payoff. But I don't think the movie done really well in these moments to create this scary and creepy atmosphere. The lighting in this film is really dark as well, but I have mixed feelings on the lighting in this movie. I'll speak about it more in a minute, but in these scenes that I'm talking about, it really does work well. It kind of follows where the characters walk to and what situation we're in. I mean, I think Rob Savage done really well to get the lighting spot on here, and I can imagine that's not the easiest thing to pull off, but it just added that extra oomph to these sort of creepy scenes, if you like. And the actual reasoning behind this thing, or this being that is stalking these people, I mean, I don't want to say too much. It was quite horrifying, actually. This kind of latches onto people who are grieving and turns the screw on their suffering, if you like. And that, to me, is some dark shit, man. I mean, only pure evil can do stuff like that. I really like the design of this Boogeyman character as well. Again, I don't want to say too much, but even from the first act in this movie, we are teased as to what it may look like. And when we finally get there, about halfway throughout the film, towards the third act, it isn't overexposed. So we aren't just throwing this thing and then we finally seen it, and the rest of the movie, it doesn't really have an effect. It's always kept on the low, and I really appreciated that, because I think it kept the suspense and the disturbance of this thing all in the wraps there, and you're kind of still on edge a little bit there. And the lighting really comes into the movie as a positive again here by just keeping it all in the shadows.
What is this supposed to be? It's the thing that comes for your kids when you're not paying attention.
Now, most of the main cast all done a job here as well. Sophie Thatcher, you may know from the show Yellow Jackets. She is dealing with grief in this movie, and she put in a hell of a performance to show the viewer that she really is struggling to cope with the loss of her mother here, and she just can't seem to get past it, and she really looks upset and like she's struggling just by looking at her facial expressions and stuff. So I thought she'd done an excellent job in that department, and it really did make me feel sorry for her and latch onto her a little bit. Vivian Lara Blair as well is the younger sister in this movie, and I thought she'd done an equally impressive job, but not with dealing with grief, more of being scared. Now, this thing is taunting her throughout the movie, and she is absolutely petrified of this thing, and you can tell how scared she is. There's tears rolling down her face and stuff, and I really thought she'd done well for such a young actress. I think the annoying young actors of the 80s and 90s are a thing of the past now, because I just see more impressive performances from younger aged cast members, and this one was no exception. I thought she'd put in a hell of a job. However, I do feel like this film does have a good few problems to go with the positives, and when I said I had a mixed thought about the lighting, that comes into the negatives as well here, because I really don't mind it when it's doing all these scary scenes and these tension building scenes. Like I said, it works very well in that department. But for the rest of the movie, I don't understand why it had to be so dark. I mean, for example, the young actress Vivian Lara Blair's character is being taunted throughout this entire film. I mean, she is every night she goes to bed, she's terrified. And one night she's playing the PlayStation in the living room with all of the lights off. Now she's been afraid of the dark at night throughout this film. So why the hell would she play the PlayStation in pure pitch black? I mean, not even a lamp on at the side. That just kind of didn't make sense to me. I mean, she's sitting in the dark when she doesn't have to. But even all the other scenes in the movie, it just felt so dark. I mean, does no one turn the light on in this house at all? I mean, I get it in them scenes, like I said, but I just wish the movie kind of switched it up a little bit. Instead of having this dark, dull, depressing feel all the way through it. Also, this film plays heavily, and I do mean heavily, on the dealing of loss for this family. I mean, it also almost makes it the main story instead of this side thing that's going on. That's how much it's in it, and it does tie the story together in little parts, but only minimally. And I just thought, did they really have to mention a dead mother that much when I'd finished the film? Because I just thought it would have had a bigger payoff, or it would have meant more when the credits roll. But I just don't think it had to be in there that much. There's also a few side characters in this film who were just so truly unlikable. They're teenage girls who go to our main character's school, and I just knew that she didn't want to hang out with them at all, and neither did I as a viewer. However, the biggest negative I can give this film is that it is just so generic and just a simple one. I mean, we've seen this movie 3 or 4 times a year, and they come out all the time, and as a horror fan, you kind of notice that a lot more than most people who just go to these movies for a jump scare or whatever. The movie Smile came out last year, and it was similar in its story a little bit to this, but they just done it 10 times better than the Boogeyman did. This one felt a little bit more lazy compared to that film, which is unfortunate. But it's like they also just went, what Stephen King adaptations haven't been done yet? Oh, the Boogeyman from 1973. Yeah, we haven't done that one. Let's do that one. However, I didn't dislike this film by any stretch. It was alright. I just wish it had a little bit more to it, or an extra bit of a kick. And it was just a very beige horror movie, unfortunately. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this film now. I'm going to give The Boogeyman a 6 out of 10. I feel like you'll be happy to see some daylight after walking out the cinema or opening your blinds after seeing this one. Okay, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for The Boogeyman is that there is a moment in this film where a character is watching a YouTube video on how to raise the dead. And that YouTube clip is taken from Rob Savage's past film, Host, believe it or not. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review. Please don't forget to leave a comment down below about your thoughts on this movie. Did you like it? Did you not? Did you think it was too dark? Also, why not talk about some of our favourite Stephen King movies down below, and I'll try and get back to you all, I promise. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe if this is your type of thing. Thanks so much, take care, and I'll see you all on the next video.